She just wanna work and pay her bills. Fuck up on a man who keep it real.
That's right.
She just want her girls to know the deal.
They do.
She just told her boss just how she feel.
Fuck you.
She just hit the club up on a Thursday. Told the bartender I am feeling thirsty. Took a couple shots just like it's her birthday. Hit the tree up just like it was Earth Day.
Saw her at a club in a Lambo. She don't eat no pork, she gon' have no. Got these niggas shooting shots, call them Rambo. Wanna let them know it's not a man's world. They try to tap it and they black, call them Sambo. They try to tap it and they white, call them CIA. She know the truth about the game, and she don't play. She know the truth about the fame, so she okay. You like blah blah blah, she like
dollar signs.
You like rent this here, she like
I'm buying mine.
She got her besties back when it is trying times. She used to boof the pack when it was flying time. All around the world, see those pretty girls. Yeah, lights, camera, action. She ain't even acting.
Good, y'all, and welcome back to another amazing episode of We Don't Sip Tea, We Drink Wine. I'm your girl, Miss JLH, and this is a review episode. Yes, so I started a YouTube page, and I would like to do more interviews, more reviews, and shit on YouTube. Like, I'm really about watching stuff and having an opinion on it. And then also, I like to interview people. I like to ask questions. I like to get to know people. So honestly, I think that's what I'm going to bring to my YouTube channel. Just more interactive type of content, whereas my podcast, I can kind of just like shoot the shit and just talk, I guess. Maybe? What y'all think? Anyway, let's get to this review, right? So I have been doing reviews on Atlanta season 3 with two awesome gentlemen here in the United States, Van and Dominic. I want to thank them so much for joining in with me and helping me out with the review for season 3. Season 4, I do want to bring in a new team and talk about season 4 Atlanta. So I can't wait to see y'all there. Hopefully you will tune in. Hopefully I will also be better at posting my content. I really am trying, y'all, I promise. But in the meantime, there are a lot of things that I enjoy on my own personal time. So I watch movies, I watch shows, I watch a bunch of stuff. And I also take suggestions. But this movie, I did decide to watch on my own, and I really did enjoy it. So I'm here to give a review on this movie that came out this year called Men. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is a folk horror film. It was written and directed by Alex Garland. It stars Jessie Buckley, and she is a widowed woman who travels on a holiday to a countryside village, but becomes disturbed and tormented by the strange men in the village, all portrayed by Rory Kinnear. The film was released in the U.S. on May 20th, and then it was produced by A24, and in the United Kingdom, it was released on June 1st by Entertainment Film Distributors. It received generally positive reviews for its performances, though its narrative approach received some criticism. I'm going to tell y'all how I feel about it because I absolutely loved the movie. I thought it was actually well written. I loved it, honestly. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 69%. I say that's a little low, honestly. I give it a 75-80. And I only say I give it a 75-80 because it is a horror film. So I would have liked a little bit more whatever that means. But also it was more of a psychological thriller to me. I wouldn't really class it as a horror, but then it also is described as a folk horror. I'm really not sure what folk horror is actually. Let me look that up while we at it. But I really folk Folk horror is a subgenre of horror film for cinema or television that uses elements of folklore to invoke fear in its audience. Typical elements include a rural setting, themes of isolation, religion, the power of nature, and potential darkness of rural landscapes. Oh, I did not realize that's what folk horror is. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, so that's like a midsummer and stuff like that. Yes. Look at that. We all learning. So okay, so this was a folk horror. I actually really loved it. Now that I know what folk horror is, not me doing a review show and not knowing my stuff. Well, thank God for having a little computer in our hands, right? Anyway, let me tell y'all about this movie, right? Let's get to it. So the movie is called Men. I'm going to only give away some of the movie. I'm not going to give y'all everything, but this lady, so you don't know if she loses her husband. You really don't know. You don't really know what she's about. You don't really know what's going on. You just know that she drives to this place, this isolated village cottage, and she just wants to be alone. That's the sentiment that you're getting here. She gets there, she meets the guy who's leasing the place, and who's played by Rory Kinnear, and he automatically introduces her as a Mrs. and stuff. She's like, oh, I'm not married, or I guess she kind of like, says she doesn't have a husband, whatever. He's just like, oh, my apologies, I didn't mean to assume. She's like, it's cool. So she gets on the phone with her friend. She's talking to her friend about the whole experience, why she's doing this and everything like that. And her friend's like, oh, well, how do you feel about it? So now I'm under the assumption that the husband just died or whatever. So that's it. She's going on and enjoying her time there. And while she's enjoying her time, she goes out on a walk and stuff. And she's in this tunnel and she's like echoing and making these noises. And it's really interesting. And she's having a vibe, y'all. She's having a moment. She's in her own space, her element. But there's something at the end of the tunnel that she sees and she's like, oh, let me get out of here. Now, what I loved about that is that this white woman had common sense. Not too much, though, because sis stayed there a little too long for me trying to figure it out. It was like she was trying to figure out, was there really something at the end of the tunnel? And my thing is, if you saw the slightest amount of movement, sis, it's time to haul ass, period. Again, she sees like a figure of something chasing her, as she starts getting closer back to the cottage. But she don't run fast enough for me. I don't like that. Like, what you trying to prove, sis? Obviously there is something. Anyway, within the movie, there are flashbacks. So you definitely have to pay attention to this film. You can't be on your phone and just playing a game like I was. But you definitely have to pay attention because there are flashbacks that happen. It goes back to scenes of her with her husband and what actually happened between them. In the end, you eventually find out that they were not in the best of terms, and he does end up committing suicide. I'm not going to tell y'all how or nothing like that, but just so y'all know, that's pretty much what happens. I guess the pain and the guilt or whatever from him dying really was with her. She was going through a lot, so that was the need for this space. Now, the crazy thing about this film is, why is it a horror film? What happens? Okay, so there's this man. So that figure that she saw in the tunnel, apparently is this man in the forest, and he just came to her house and he's just like stalking her. He gets arrested, but of course he's released because they can't charge him with anything. He didn't do anything to her. He didn't hurt her. Like, there's nothing they can really charge him with. So they have to let him go. The police officer sees her at the bar, also with the guy who rented her the cottage. And they're all talking to her. And she's like so disgusted because it's like, you know, she just doesn't feel safe. And she feels like the cop is kind of like downplaying how she feels and stuff. And I get it, because, and look, that's how men be sometimes, for real. But and that's not no shade, because I mean, for real, like, if things happen to women, when things happen to women, sometimes it is like a downplay, because it's like, oh, well, what were you wearing? What did you do to provoke it? And it's like, damn, what did do I need to do anything to provoke anybody? Do I need to wear anything to provoke anybody? Like, I'm just existing out here. But that's how that cop came off. And she goes back to the house, okay? And now that it's on and popping, shit starts a happening. Now I'm skipping some things because she does meet two other characters, but I really just want y'all to watch this movie, because the whole theme of it all is her dealing with her inner conflict of what happened with her and her husband, and how their relationship and ultimately his death ended up being a burden on her that she really carried, an inner conflict that she really struggled and had a hard time accepting. And the fucked up thing is that the husband didn't just die. Like I said, I think I said this, but he committed suicide. That fucks with you even more, because it's like, am I the reason? You know, whether it's a husband, a friend, a cousin, whoever the person is, a lot of the times when somebody commits suicide, you do tend to blame yourself. The people you left behind do tend to blame themselves. Or, you know, those who have committed suicide, you know, you blame yourself for knowing that there is more that you probably could have done. Or maybe there is nothing you could have done and you're just like, damn, well, why? Or why couldn't you have just talked to me? It's just so much. It's just so much. And then also just the simple fact of what the husband and the wife were going through. It was a lot to deal with. Again, I don't want to give away too much, because I do think this is a really good film. I think that it gets deep into how can I word this? It gets deep into the idea that, first of all, no one belongs to anyone. And I think that was really important to see. But also just the burden that women tend to carry when it comes to certain things that men place upon them. It can be kind of a traumatic experience for them as well. Again, seeing this film will make more sense. I just didn't want to give too much away for y'all. I feel like it really is a good film to watch. I feel like it was beautifully written. I feel like it was beautifully directed. I love the elements of horror in it. I love the use of nature, since I realize it is a folk horror that is so insane. I love the rebirth of men that is shown in here. Like, just you see the trauma that men go through, the cycle of trauma that a man can go through. You see the cycle of trauma that when a man goes through trauma, how it affects women. It was just really interesting. I think it was really well written. I do. I loved it. I would give it 4.5 stars. Honestly, I only wouldn't give it 5 because I could have been a little bit more scared. I'm gonna be real with you. I could have been a little bit more scared. But that is it. I loved it. It was a good film. It was very well written. It's not too long. And yeah, I hope y'all check it out. Definitely look it up. Man, it came out this year. Definitely check it out for yourself. All right, so that is my review. I hope you loved it. And I'm out. Peace.